In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front driver's side CV shaft on this BMW X5. This is going to be located on the driver's side behind the wheel. Let's get into it. We're going to move the wheel, use a 17mm socket, take the lug bolts out. Before I take the last lug nut off, I'm just going to hold the wheel from falling and take this off. And grab the wheel, pull it right off. Now we're going to remove the axle nut. The nut is going to be peened over right here. You want to take a punch or a chisel and just with a hammer, just try to bend it back just to make it a little easier to remove. And you're going to use a 36mm. Most vehicles are going to have a 12 point, so you're going to need a 12 point socket. But 36mm. Take the axle nut off. We're going to take the caliper and bracket off together. We're going to use a E18 socket. Take these bolts out. Now take the caliper off. And I'm going to use a brake caliper hanger and just hang this out of the way. Just make sure there's no tension on the brake hose. You can hang it around the coil spring if you want. That's good. And disconnect the hose right here. There's a clip. I'm just going to use some locking pliers. Just grab the clip. Pull that out. Grab the hose, take that off the bracket. And then we're just going to move the caliper from this side to the other, just to make it a little easier. Let's get that out of the way. Hang that over there. There is a wire for the ABS. We'll just pull that out of the bracket as well. Give it a little more slack. I'm going to remove the upper nut for the sway bar link. Use an 18mm wrench on the nut, and on the stud we're going to use a T40 socket just to hold the stud from spinning. Once you get that started, we're just going to switch to a ratchet wrench. 18mm ratchet wrench. Makes it go a little quicker. Take that off. Just going to take a little punch. Just hammer that through. You can also pry the sway bar down or up to pull it the rest of the way. Just pry that down, pull that out. I'm going to disconnect the connectors. Behind this box, there's a couple tabs on the side. Pop that open. Pull these connectors out. This is for the wheel speed sensor and the brake pad sensors. So just push down on the tab and separate the connector. You might have to wiggle it a little. If you need to, just use a small screwdriver, straight blade screwdriver. Get underneath the lock tab. There we go. Disconnect that. Do the same on the other one. And take the wires out of the grommets that are attached to this bracket. Pull that out. And pull that one out. Now I'm going to take this nut and bolt out, use a 16mm socket and a 16mm wrench. Take that off. I'll use a pry bar, just pry this down, pull the bolt out. If it doesn't come out that easy, just use a punch, try to punch it out. And we'll separate this. Sometimes it doesn't separate this easy. If you need to, you can use a pry bar, spread it apart a little bit right there, and also use a punch and just hammer this out. And that's going to tip forward. And I'm just going to hammer the axle out a little bit. Just tap it with a hammer. And just pull it out of the knuckle. If you turn the wheel a little bit out, then you can pop this out just like that. That's out of there. But we're still going to have to separate this fork from the strut. Now we're going to take this lower bolt out, use a 21mm socket, 21mm wrench on the nut. Take that out. That lower control arm is going to slide down from the fork a little bit. We're going to take this bolt out. Now using a 18mm socket, take this bolt out. Be careful of that bracket. Pull that bolt out. And this fork should slide right down. If it doesn't, they do make tools to spread this, or you can even use a pry bar. Just spread that apart. Slide that down. Pull that out. Now, underneath, we're going to remove this shield. Use a 16mm socket. Take these bolts out. Hold it once you get to the last one so it doesn't fall. And pull it down. Now from underneath the car on the back of the axle, we're just going to use a punch and just give it a tap. You want to separate that out of the differential. Just like that. Once it's loose, you should be able to pull it. And you might want to put a drain bucket underneath, just in case any fluid comes out. There you go. Pull that out. And there it is. Now I'll take the new axle, slide it through, twist it back and forth. And just push it in. If it's not going in all the way, you can just take a rubber mallet, give it a tap till it's all the way down. That's good. I'm going to take the fork, slide that in position, and slip it up on the strut. If you need to, use a rubber mallet. All the way down. Now I'll take the bolts with the bracket, get this lined up. Snug that down. We'll torque that once everything's closer to being back together. Now take the knuckle, get the axle through. Now raise the knuckle up, get the arm in position, put the bolt through. Right there. I'm going to take the upper control arm, I'm going to pull that down. If you need to, use a pry bar. Put the bolt through. And the nut. Get that started. Now take the sway bar link, get that lined up. If you need to, pry the sway bar down just to get that to line up. Get the nut started. Tighten down the nut. Oops. All right. I'm going to torque this nut to 74 foot-pounds. The upper ball joint, nut and bolt to 41 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to torque the upper fork bolt to 59 foot-pounds. Now take the nut down below, put this nut on, get that started. And before we tighten that down, you want to use a pull jack or raise up on the lower suspension. You want to get this as close to ride height as possible before you tighten that down. That's good right there. Put a wrench on the nut. And torque this to 121 foot-pounds. That's good. Now we can lower the pull jack. Now take these wires with the grommets, put those in the bracket right there. The brake pad sensor wire and the wheel speed sensor wire. And connect those to the connectors. You can only connect them to the correct connector. You can't mess it up. Click those in place and put them behind the door. This wiring harness is coming down here. It should go through there in this vehicle. And push it behind the door. That's good. Now take the brake caliper. Just gonna move this over here so we can get the brake hose lined up. Slide the brake hose through the bracket and this wire with the grommet, push that in place. And I'll take the clip. And just push that in place. If you need to, just use a little hammer, tap it in place. Now I take the caliper. Take the hanger off, and slide it over the rotor. Make sure you spread the brake pads. Take the bolts for the caliper, get those started. And we'll torque these bolts to 81 foot-pounds. Take the axle nut, put the axle nut on, tighten it down. I'm going to take two of the lug bolts, get those started. with a pry bar. Just going to go through here. Now we're going to torque the spindle nut to 310 foot-pounds. Good. Take the pry bar off. Take the lug bolts out. And right here where there's a notch, you can take a punch or a chisel and just give it a tap. Just peen that over a little bit. Do the same on the bottom side. Now take the wheel. Get that lined up. That's good right there. Get the bolt started. Snug these down. Now we're going to torque the lug bolts to 103 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Go around again, double check.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.